Hi, welcome to another edition of Abraham Chicks, and I'm very excited today to introduce you to an amazing woman called Lee Jagger, as in Mick Jagger. There might be some other resemblances actually further down in this interview. Lee is an amazing woman who teaches how to be a badass in the bedroom. Is that right? Is
Yes.
that fair to say?
That's exactly it.
Okay, I'm blushing already. We haven't even started. So we'll get around to what you do and how you do it. But firstly, welcome. So nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm honored to be someone that you want to interview because it's just so great to get what I know out into the world and share what I know. So thank you for being open-minded enough to have conversations. And
are you kidding?
That they will inevitably come around to what I do as a profession. So it's still taboo, but let's go for it.
Yeah, exactly. The law of attraction is already working because I don't even know how I got in contact with you. I think somebody, and I just looked at you and I just saw your face and just the energy. I was like, okay, I need to speak to that woman. And at that point, I didn't even know what you did. So
right, yeah, surprise.
You look so sweet and innocent.
I know it's all a facade. I'd love to talk about that too.
Okay, well, we can talk about anything. I mean, literally. So let's go back to the beginning because this Abraham Chicks is all about amazing women who live the law of attraction, and I mean, live it in so many different ways. Whether it's your business, your family, your attracting in the love that you want, empowering yourself sexually. There are so many ways of using this universal law. And so, I mean, I'm just fascinated to know, firstly, how did you start using it? Was it by chance? Did somebody introduce you to it?
Yeah, someone introduced me. So I signed up for some coaching program. I was living in Canada, and the lady lived in San Diego, which becomes significant later. And she signed up. She signed me up on some coaching program, and as a thank you email thing, she sent me 2 video clips, one of Tony Robbins and one of Esther Hicks, and channeling a channeling clip from years ago. And I still remember the clip and almost every word of it because I replayed it so many times. And I'm getting angel bumps right now thinking about it. Like my whole world just went like, oh my gosh, that's what I've been doing wrong all this time. I'm creating all the stuff I don't like around me. And I was so used to blaming the world, blaming others, blaming my parents, my teachers, blah, blah, blah. And it became so crystal clear to me in that moment.
But how did that feel to actually, because we create our lives, but to actually take full responsibility even for the shit stuff, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not. No. I so clearly resonated with the truth of that statement for me, that I quickly got over the shit, now I have no one to blame for my life anymore. There was, it just felt like I was ready to move past that. So that transition was really quick for me because I really got the connection that, okay, I can't blame anyone else, but that means I have all the power. And that was exciting to me because I'd always resonated with magical things, like anything sci-fi that's just a little outside the box, that fairy tale land. I just thought, ooh, that's cool. Like all that stuff always resonated with me. The possibility I always thought I was a mermaid. Like I really thought I somehow got deserted and I lost my mermaid family. And like, I really believed this. And so it wasn't too far outside the box to think this way. And so I dove in like a fish to water for sure. And I could not get enough. The truth of it just resonated so predominantly in my
Yeah.
vibration.
And did you start to see, you know, things start to manifest pretty quickly, or was it a slow process for you?
So the, you know, the outside world did not change. My outside world reflected total poverty and massive lack and struggle, single parent, and so that did not change right away at all. But I, you know, I adopted the idea of just every day when I wake up, looking for reasons to feel good, no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm doing it with. We've heard that before. And I just thought, well, you know, if I'm stuck in this situation right now that I don't like, do I want to be stuck and miserable, or do I want to be stuck and at least find some relief in feeling good?
Yeah.
Some relief, just to feel good. Because I realized that, yes, the reason why we want anything is because we think we're going to feel good.
Yeah.
And I just was so sick and tired of feeling bad. And so I just thought, okay, I lived in Vancouver at the time, flowers everywhere. It's very lush there. So I would just always stop and literally smell the flowers.
Smell the roses, yeah.
Yeah, and I would just make a point, and then I just became so entrenched in just all the things that showed up that did feel good, and the friendly people and the gorgeous weather, and I just started focusing less on the negative and more on the positive. It just seemed like, oh wow, there's so many good things here. And it felt so good to just feel good. And despite my surroundings, and I really, I love challenges. And so it was sort of a challenge to myself. How good can I feel despite what I'm looking at?
I like it. So it's almost like a competition with yourself, you know?
It was totally a competition. And it was to get something done, for sure. In the beginning, I was messing it all up. Like I was trying, okay, if I do this, then my external situation is going to change. And so I'm going to do this. Yeah. And that's the wrong reason to do it. I realized that, you know, you got to feel good for good's sake, just because you just want to feel good, not because you need something else to change. Because that just didn't work out.
That's a really good point. It's that whole unconditional approach, rather than I will feel happy if, I will feel happy when.
Yeah.
It's
or
just
I'm going to feel happy so.
Yeah.
You know, like it's always okay, if I'm going to do these processes, then my end result will be this. And you just can't, that doesn't work. I found when I was, the question you asked me initially when we booked this interview was, you know, okay, so list some examples of amazing things that have turned around because of law of attraction. And all of the significant things that turned around for me, I realized it wasn't like I now live in San Diego, paradise. And I didn't set out to live in San Diego. I mean, the lady who signed me up in the coaching program, you know, she would take videos of herself on the top of roofs with the bay and all the sun and the palm trees and everything in the background. And I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing. And wow, I'd love to live there. Just sort of a fantasy. Wouldn't it be nice if, but never really took it seriously. Because I just had, there was no plan, and I came to live here. And so it made me realize that, everything that I really, really wanted that I got, I didn't actually work hard to get it. Like if I do A, B, C, D, I'm going to get E. And sometimes I did do that, and I did get E, but it totally looked different than I thought it would.
Than you thought,
So I really learned the benefit in just what kind of person do I want to be?
Yeah.
Do I want to be a happy person, a positive person? Do I want to be a gossipy person? Do I want to be a complainy person? Like, what feels better? Ooh, this feels better. So I'm just going to be that. And then I came to this point which really catapulted my life, where I thought, so I've been doing this law of attraction thing for years, and I'm still broke as hell, and at the time homeless. And I thought, you know what if I am this? what if my situation looks like this for the rest of my friggin' life? Like, if I am in that, if none of this works, this law of attraction crap, what if none of that works and I never get financially stable? Am I willing to just, like, can I just sit in the comfort of that, okay, that's not exactly what I want, but can I just, knowing that it's never going to get better than this, can I just decide to just be happy anyway? Or shall I just jump off a bridge and end it now? Because if I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life, which is probably going to be a really long time, I just can't handle being miserable for that long. So when I finally just kind of threw my hands up and said, okay, if this is my lot in life, I'm just going to make the best of it.
Yeah.
And half the population of the world is in poverty, or whatever the percentage is. There's a lot of people in poverty, and you see them smiling. Like, they still make the best of their day. So I thought, okay, come on, I live in San Diego. It's not that bad. Yeah. If I'm homeless, well, at least it's warm outside, so I looked for the silver lining in everything. And I just thought, I just choose to be happy. And then everything changed.
But I think that's just so important. It's that whole, when you actually look at how bad could it really be and just accept it, the resistance just goes. Whatever resistance was blocking you in the first place, and just asking questions of, well, what else is possible, and making a choice opens up the energy for something completely different. But at the time, you're just thinking, well, that's it. I just, it's like giving up. I give up.
It's a total give up. And I had a huge epiphany yesterday. Actually, I was with two friends of mine, and they kind of truth bombed me a bit, which was awesome. I love friends like that. And I had this huge realization. I reframed the giving up aspect. It was sort of like an embracing of, instead of putting the happy face sticker on what does not feel happy, which a lot of Abers end up doing, gotta feel good, and then they don't really go into those dark places, and they deny them because they think that's going to take them to a dark place, and they're going to be negatively manifesting, and that's not how it works at all. I realized, and I thought, okay, so, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of how to word this. So the action that we take, that Abraham talks about, is inspired action, right? Like, yes, there's action required, but it's got to be inspired action. And I realized, the first action that needs to happen, and the word proactive came up, and I thought, to be proactive, really the first step in that is just like getting into my body and feeling, okay, what am I feeling right now? Like, I know what I want to be feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm proactive in order to get to that happy place. But what am I feeling right now? Like, let's acknowledge it. Let's actually, I'm there for a reason, because I believe everything happens for a reason. And so let's just really tune into embracing, okay, I have anger right now. I'm really angry. And to just sit with that. And I have a way of tuning in with my higher self where I can physically feel a filling up of energy, higher self, whatever. And I can get into that state where it just feels like, oh yeah, my inner, I'm really tuned in. There's this blending of me and my inner being, and I'm really letting them in, kind of thing. And to just like be in that state and be angry at the same time, and to just integrate the anger into my body instead of pushing it away, because we take action in order to fix it and to squish that anger and squish that pain and squish the frustration. And instead of squishing it, just taking it in and hugging it and bringing it in, going, yes, you're welcome. You're welcome here. And let's just embrace this, because I'm feeling it for a reason. And and that's the first step. That's the inspired action. And then immediately, like you say, it takes the charge away.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I realize, oh, that's what I'm doing, and that's okay. And I love myself anyway, and I'm not a failure because I can't reach that happy place. And I'm not a hypocrite in the Abe community because I'm not happy right now. And And that's the inspired action. And then you get more inspired action after that. And so that was such a huge epiphany for me, to realize that just getting in touch with whatever I'm feeling right now is the first action step.
Yeah. I think that's really, really useful for people that are just trying to learn about law of attraction and how it works, because it's not enough to just be all happy Pollyanna, everything's great, because actually your vibration is reflecting what you truly believe.
Right.
So what's on
like
the
you're not
outside,
fooling anybody.
Exactly. So, it makes a whole lot more sense to go within and actually feel what you're feeling and recognize, okay, no emotion is bad. It's just an emotion. And what is it telling me? And do I want to shift? Do I want to move? Do I want to integrate? Do I want to use this contrast to push me to something else? And that's all it's doing. It's just a little speed bump in the road that's like, okay, you're off track. Let's get you back on track. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it is just a little speed bump. And very recently, it felt like I had totally backslid to the old vibration of years ago. And a really, really good friend of mine, Nicole, she pointed out to me that beautiful analogy where, like an inchworm, how it, there's this long inchworm, and he scooches his hind quarters forward, and then he goes forward, and he just keeps moving forward. But what actually happens is he scooches forward, and then he scooches back just a little bit before he scooches forward again.
Yeah.
So being in that little backsliding feeling doesn't mean that you backslid back to here. Like you've inched forward, and you've inched back just a little bit, but you're still way forward, way ahead of where you were. So to not freak out that, oh my God, I'm just back where I started, and now I got to start all over again.
I think that's a really good analogy, because it's almost like, when you see beyond your imagination, you're seeing beyond where you're currently at. And you get the vision, and it takes you quite high, and the vibration is high. And then, of course, you sink back to your current position. And so that inchworm is allowing you to actually integrate and embody the new you. And you're just bridging the gap between where you're at now and where you want to be. It's
exactly.
You have to come back. It's like it's got to move backwards and forwards.
Yeah. It's like, get ready. You're about to shoot forward. Get ready. Yeah. Like, it's okay. This is it's temporary.
Yeah.
And someone just tried to call me, and that was Nicole, the one who gave me the inchworm. That is so funny.
That's energy.
There's great healing in dance, man. When in doubt, just dance.
I know. I've just started to learn salsa dancing, and it's just like my favorite.
It's so great.
I know.
So great. Oh, there's nothing like dancing is such a great example of getting swept away in the moment, where in that moment you just don't want to be anywhere else, doing anything else with anyone else. And to me, like, dancing is that, just you're so present in the moment that is what we're aiming for in all of this law of attraction, making it work for me so that life goes my way. Well, it's for moments like that that's what we're reaching for. And they're so easy to come by, like getting lost in the smell of a flower. Bam, you just got there. You just got to nirvana just for a second. And it's all the little moments that add up to a beautiful life.
Yeah. And it's so funny. The last couple of days I had a little bit of contrast myself, and just, you get into the momentum. And of course, one thought leads to another, and whether it's negative or positive, that momentum's happening. And, I've been practicing this long enough to know sometimes you've just got to stop, move away from what you're doing, move away from the computer, and take a couple of days just to chill out, go dancing, just switch my head off from all the work ideas. And then a few days previously, I'd been saying to my mum, I really miss us having a little cat that just comes over to the house. And we've had lots of stray cats. And the one that's been coming recently has got one eye, called Wunny. And it's not very affectionate. And I said, I really missed it, like an affectionate cat coming. And so yesterday, literally after I just obviously let go of whatever resistance was happening in my body, this cute little black and white cat just came, and it would not leave me. It was cuddles and kisses, and it just made me laugh because I thought, this is how easy you can manifest. You know, it was,
Right.
I put the idea out there. I'd love to have a little cat come visit that just wants to play. And of course I had no attachment. I had no condition about it,
Such
because
a little thing.
whether it comes or goes, it doesn't matter. And
Right.
just to see it turn up and then recognize the synchronicity was like, okay, so this is how this works. So then when you're trying to get the bigger things, it's like, how can we simplify those bigger things? And again, it's just following that feeling.
Yeah. And I think too that the bigger things kind of take care of themselves. If you're really focusing on the little easy things, then the big things just kind of just unfold magically.
Yeah.
You know, like how I came to live down here and completely change my world 180 degrees. Like none of my world now looks like it did when I lived in Vancouver. And
so what sort of time frame are we talking about for this big change? Because you obviously went from being homeless, living in Canada, and now you're in, you know, in a beautiful place. And
yeah, well, so I came to Abraham in 2009. And then in 2011, I ended up coming down here. I was engaged to a guy who lived in the States, and we were going to settle here. And I ended up staying here, although we didn't stay together. That's a really cool story. And that was the beginning of 2012 that I was on my own down here, homeless, but feeling better than ever. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And so that was beginning of 2012. And I was kind of going from house to house, pet sitting and house sitting, sleeping on friends' couches, just not having my own roof. I slept in my car, and all with my son, my 10-year-old son in tow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was something else.
So how did you
that was a year and a half of that.
Yeah.
And it was, all I knew was I was compelled. Like when me and my fiance split up, I had left everything in Canada. Like I was prepared to marry this guy and be in the States. And so I gave or sold everything I had. And so I had nothing to go home to. My house was gone. My business was gone. I was teaching yoga, had a yoga business, very successful, gave that up. I had no home, no job, no nothing to go back to. Yeah. And I had a little 45-minute total internal freak out. Oh shit, I'm screwed. You know,
45 minutes is fine.
Yeah. In hindsight, I'm like, that's not bad, you know, because my whole world was like, oh my God, rug pulled, and I'm sitting on my butt and with a 10-year-old in tow. And so I totally freaked out. And then what ended the freak out was, oh my gosh, I have no obligations to go home to. Like I have no mortgage or lease or rent due in my name, no bills. No one's expecting me to come back. And so I all of a sudden felt this freedom. Like I could go anywhere in the world. I want to go. Where do I want to go? And I was in San Diego at the time during Christmas, December. So in Canada, that's cold. But in San Diego, I was in t-shirt and shorts and I'm warm and it's sunny and dolphins are jumping in the water. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why would I ever want to leave here? And I had just made some new Abraham friends. So I thought, I'm not leaving. And I drove my ex-fiance and his son back up to Seattle. And then I'm driving down with my son. And I remember being on the road thinking, this doesn't make sense. I'm a Canadian in the States without a visa. I can't work. I have no job. I have no home. But I'm going to, if I'm going to be homeless and jobless, at least I'm going to be where it's warm, where I can sleep in my car and I'm not going to freeze. And so, but I just had this total sense of, oh no, this is so good. This is so good. Like, just get your ass to California. You just need to go. Like, all I saw was sunshine, and it didn't make sense how I was feeling to what was going on externally. And that's how I knew I just need to go. I'm just going to figure it out. I just know everything's going to turn out. And so since then, I've felt that several times where I'll sign up for some school doing a program that I'm not even interested in, like aesthetics. I signed up for aesthetics school. I have no interest in aesthetics, but I felt compelled to go to that school. And because it didn't make sense, yet I felt compelled anyway. To me, I now recognize that as total inspired action. And of course, it always works out just exponentially well when I actually follow that. And yeah, there were a lot of rough times, but all in all, wouldn't change it for anything. Yeah. Just magic unfolded. So
such a good story. And your son, I mean, what was his perspective on what was happening? Was it an adventure for him, or
that's exactly it. It was just an adventure. You know, the nights that we slept in the car, I had this little 91 Toyota Corolla, and he was sleeping across the front seats and I was sleeping across the back seats. The emergency brakes up in his back, and you know, I had all these blankets all, you know, trying to make it cozy. And I was just, you know, like, it's kind of like camping, but we don't have to set up a tent. It's just an adventure, you know. And not too long ago, he's 17 now. That was like 6.5 years ago that I came down here. I revisited that with him. Like, what was that like for you? And he said, you know, it wasn't that bad. Like, it was what it was. And it's like he knows he signed up for this. Like, he's just, kids are so resilient, and he just rolled with the punches. And we were just traveling all around the county and house sitting here, house sitting there, and getting to spend time in beautiful homes and not so beautiful homes, but really cool pets. And he'd made some new friends, and, you know, the beach life, and he just rolls with it. And I think because I was okay with it, yes, there were hard times, but in general, it's just like, yep, this is just what we're doing, and this is exciting. He just, like, that vibration was contagious for him, I think. And so it wasn't, I could make it very melodramatic, but it wasn't really, because vibrationally, I just knew this is the direction I have to go. I can't even describe. You know, I could have moved back to where my family was, but that just seemed like, like, that's rationally, certain choices I could have made more sense. But I couldn't make those choices. And
I think logic has to go out the window. It's, you know, we're not in a linear universe. You know, it really is just a case of following the energy and keep asking the questions of
and really tuning in, like, what do I feel right now, despite how it looks, and despite how all your friends are well-meaning, trying to tell me, well, you know, you should do this, and they're just wanting to help, but they can't feel what I'm feeling, and I'm the one getting the message from my higher self. And so to just keep reminding oneself to just tune in, and how does this feel, regardless of what it looks like, or does it make sense, or would society condemn me for it? What does it feel like? If it feels like you just can't help yourself, God, you just got to do it.
You got to do it.
Or don't take action that people would recommend that you take, because it feels bad. You can't explain why it feels bad. And I'm in the middle of that situation right now, where I've been offered an opportunity, and it, for all outside perspectives, looks like a good opportunity, but I'm going to have to tell her, no, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. I don't know why I can't do this, but I can't. I don't know why. But, you know, from the broader perspective, sometimes you have to close some doors to go in a different path. And that's the path you really want to go down. So it's a huge leap of
faith. Trust your guidance. And I think what's really inspiring, you know, listening to you is how important your alignment is, you know, even for your child or your family or anybody else, because we cannot serve anybody. from looking at their
Right.
perspective. It has to come from, do we feel good? Do we feel full? And, you know, his reaction to the situation, it could have been completely different if you'd have been sat panicking and thinking we're homeless. And, you know, your perspective actually kept that energy calm for him as well and made it fun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I couldn't blame my ex for my situation. I couldn't blame the country for my situation. I just can't go there in my head, knowing what I know. And so there wasn't this woe is me feeling. There was this, oh, I've handled more than this. You know, I put myself through school and I supported myself and my son prior to moving down. Like people around me have witnessed me accomplish things that they don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it, but I just, you know, like I could do this. And so I took on this kind of warrior stance, like, oh, I can do anything. I put myself through, you know.
You became the badass. That's what I'm saying.
I became the badass.
You became the badass.
Totally. It was, that's a really good point. I really honed badassness. Yeah. And then I took that into, well, not consciously, it just happened, but I ended up taking a non-badass aspect of my life, which was sexuality. I was total wallflower, not initiating in the bedroom, feeling like a victim in the bedroom. That was done to me. And just due to circumstances that unfolded, I came to complete and utter empowerment in the bedroom, in that arena. And so, yeah, it's so funny how I never thought of it, that, yeah, I was a badass in the rest of my life. So, of course, the bedroom would just follow suit.
It's got to. It's, you know, you hear that saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Exactly.
And so when you realize that, it's like, if you pick the things you're really good at, or the areas that are successful, and you just put the same mindset into the areas that are not so good, you get the same results. You know,
absolutely.
And it's like life is a mirror for you, really. It's your playground. So you decided you wanted to be more sexually adventurous or more empowered. So talk me through, how did you really get involved in this, and what is it that you're actually doing? Is it mainly for women, or
anyone who loves the penis? So yes, women, or gay men. Right. Like I have some clients who are gay who've come to my workshops. I've done, you know, like I do live workshops where I use dildos to show people how to touch the penis, the scrotum, the whole genital area. And because there's so much, more and more, especially men, I mean, or especially women, men have those goods. So they're not afraid to touch it like women are. Women have such a hesitancy over the male genitalia. And we're not pulled aside in grade 9 and, okay, girls, this is how you work with this area on a man. Like we're not taught that stuff. And we're just expected to be these goddesses in the bedroom, and to just, you know, just have all the moves. And we don't. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. Like I didn't see how that was disempowering me in the bedroom. I didn't recognize that my hesitancy and my, well, I don't really know what to do with that. I didn't see how that was actually not benefiting me. Mm-hmm. And affecting my relationships, and how a man is affected when you don't want to touch his penis, or you're just kind of like, you know, fumbling around down there, and then, well, just stick it in because that's all I got, you know, like if we're going to keep going here, let's just get to it because I'm done, you know, because no one likes to do anything they're not good at. No one likes to look incompetent, especially in the bedroom. Oh my God. That's just, to me, that feels mortifying, being incompetent at anything to do with sex. it just feels like, all right, he's going to dump me in a hot second because I got no game. I'm and when you feel incompetent and reluctant, like then you get to this place of, oh, not tonight, honey, I've got a headache. Like you just don't want to be in that situation night after night of feeling incompetent. And, you know, he wants you to initiate, but no, I don't want to do that. And so it erodes a relationship. And so, of course, that was kind of like the initial downfall of a lot of my relationships was sex. I just became uninterested. And that's just not sustainable for a long-term relationship.
But how did you take it from, who's calling? Who's calling?
So I don't know. I know, and I even put on Do Not Disturb. I gotta figure out a different thing.
I think people want in on the conversation here. So how did you take it from you feeling incompetent, disempowered, all these different areas within your sex life, to then actually realizing, I'm going to create a program that teaches women how to do this? Because it's quite a big jump. How did you get to that?
It's point? A huge jump. It took 4 years ago, almost to the day, I came into a certain circumstance, which I can't really go into right now, but I came into a certain circumstance that put me in the situation where I would have to learn how to touch a man. And I don't do anything that I'm not good at. It's just uncomfortable. If I put my mind to something, then in my world, well, I'm going to just have to be the best that I can be at it. Like, I don't like to suck at anything. I like to be good at whatever it is that I do. I want to just nail it. And so, and partially because it's like, okay, this gets boring and it's boring as hell. So I'm like, okay, so, and my hand is getting sore and I'm getting carpal tunnel here. So how do I mix this up? Okay, so let's get the other hand. Let's do something different with this hand. And just like I inadvertently created all of these techniques, mostly for me, because it was like, this is awkward after a while. And this, I mean, and when I show people this, they're like, they inevitably, like you, laugh. It's kind of like,
because you're just like mortified on the inside, but I'm just smiling at you anyway.
Right? Like we can all relate to, like, oh God, if you go to YouTube, I did this once. You go to YouTube and you type in hand job and look at all the videos that come up, like movie clips and different, and it's all really fast and furious. And a girl looking like this, and we're like, oh God, when is this going to be over?
It's a job. It's hard work.
It's a job. It's a hand job. Exactly. And I don't like doing anything unless it's fun. And that is not fun for me. And so I decided I was going to mix it up. Like, all right, so we got some balls down here. What the hell do I do with these? Let's try some things. Let's ask some questions, you know? And a man would go, well, actually, I really like it when someone does this. And I would try it. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how that would work. Yeah. And I ended up doing a whole lot of experimentation and research on many, many different men.
That research sounds terrible.
And it was, I didn't realize how empowering to me that would be. I was just trying to get through an uncomfortable situation, but it turned out that I created an incredibly empowering setup for myself, because, you know, I can walk in the room and lay a guy down and go, okay, honey, you don't have to do a thing. In fact, I love the idea of, you know, like, I'm not going to do this so that you will do something to me. not this tradesy thing. This is just a gift, and I'm going to rock your world in ways you've never, ever experienced or imagined before. That feels amazing. That feels so incredibly powerful. Mm-hmm. Like, I am in charge. I own this room right now. I own this bed. I own you right now. And you're just going to freak out. And when you come from that place of confidence, then it's amazing how that affects the rest of your world. Like, you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Same thing here, where there's so many women who are disempowered in the bedroom. And I realized one day, as I was giving someone a massage, a full body massage, I'm like, ding, total inspired thought came in. Oh, I bet I'm not the only woman who feels this. Yeah. Like, I should teach women how to do what I do, because I wish someone had taught me how to do what I do 20 years ago, you know, and I would have avoided a whole lot of years of ick, of just squeamish, you know, faking it in the bedroom and just not looking competent at all. And I would have saved a whole lot of relationships.
But so, you're doing it now. You're doing it now.
So but I'm doing it now. Mm-hmm. And so so that's why I have videos out and courses out to basically help women come into their power, because there's nothing like taking action from the position of empowerment. Abraham talks about that. There's disempowerment and there's total empowerment. And that's when you're doing anything from that place of just owning your world, just feeling awesome, feeling wonderful. And that's a place of loving on your man in a way that you never have. Like, it's such an act of love to touch a man in that way. It's not to get something done. It's not to reach an orgasm. It's to just, okay, like, let's throw the orgasm out. You just let me love you and pamper you for the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever, however long this feels good to do. Let's just do it. And who cares about the orgasm? Like, you're not going to need an orgasm because it's going to feel so good. And that's such a gift to give men, because they're such givers. And we're used to receiving, and they're used to giving, and they're not used to receiving. And it's just another level of love in an area where
I can see even the energy when you talk about it. It's something that you're really passionate about. But it, you know, for anybody else who's watching it, I think the takeaway from it is, when you find anything that makes you feel good, you know,
yes,
whether it's dancing, or, you know, or your business, right, or playing with your kids, or whatever it is that makes Absolutely. You feel good, it puts you into that state of receiving without resistance. So what I'm really curious about is, since you've been doing what you're doing and loving what you're doing, what other kind of manifestations have just poured into your life? Because it's almost like you've opened the door to the vortex. It's like, I'm in such a great space doing what I do. What sort of things have been coming in for you?
Well, for the first time, the floodgates opened to massive financial abundance in a way it never had before. That was one thing I can definitely say opened up for me. And it was just effortless, and magical, and overnight. Overnight, like winning a freaking lottery. It was like that. Feeling comfortable in my skin on a level I never had before. Feeling a sense of appreciation for men, especially, and in this whole Me Too revolution that has taken place, men can really be vilified, and it's easy to go, oh yeah, he's just such an asshole, you know, like, just write off all men because of certain behaviors of certain men, and then we just write everybody off. And so coming into what I do gave me a whole new sense of appreciation, and therefore love, and therefore respect, and therefore, you know, changing how I interact with men. And when you walk around with this reverence, really, for people on a large scale, you can't help but just see that reflected back to you in how people treat you, you know, men and women and everybody. Like, I found that I came to witness how loved and appreciated I was because of what I was putting out, in ways I'd never seen before. And I would also say during the same time period, all of the really great aspects of just who I am, who I was when I was dirt poor and homeless and all that, like the generous parts of me, you know, if I had $5 to my name, I would give $2 to someone on the street. And that's who I was when I was poor. So when I became not poor anymore, that just enabled me to be more generous. And so life became really, really, really fun during that time period of that and unfoldment of personal empowerment. It just, the whole world opened up for me. So good, so juicy.
Good. I know, I can see. Oh my God, it's so amazing to hear your story. But for I mean, are there things that you do on a daily basis to keep your vibration high? Are there certain tools that you use, just in case anybody's watching thinking, well, how do I get from where you got to where you are now?
Yeah, well, I am in the wonderful situation where I feel like I won the lottery when it comes to friends. And it took me, I didn't always have this group of friends, but I had, it all came through, you know, fellow Abers and going to meetups and stuff. And I met this core group of friends at an Abraham workshop in Arizona. It's the first one after Jerry died, and we all thought, we don't know if Esther's going to do this anymore. And then the first one after Jerry died, I attended that one, and I met these group of friends, and to surround myself with people who are non-judgmental, 100% supportive. I can be me and have a down day and be unhappy, and they still love me anyway, and remind me of who I really am, and to just as much and as often as possible to be surrounded by people like that, people who propel me up as opposed to pull me down. That to me is huge. That is really like my true north. It's
but you attracted them, so it's, you know, it has to come with you first. It starts with you, and then you will attract in the people on the same energy.
And when I learned to say no to people who are complaining, gossipy, negative, when I learned to say no to those people, and not necessarily no to their face, but just decide, okay, I have a choice to do this or to hang out with that person. I'm not going to hang out with that person. And they just eventually went away. Yeah. And when I said no to them, it was like I was saying yes to me, yes to how important it is that I feel good. And I'm willing to let go all of the things that don't make me feel good because they're just dragging me down. Not that I had really positive friends to fill in that void. But I just knew that if I stay there with those people, I'm going to get more of that. Yeah. So I just sort of slowly worked out those friends, and then these friends magically showed up, right?
Exactly. I think
that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, you say no to something and you create space for what it is that you're waiting for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so for me, getting together with other people who keep me on track, because we'll slide back into old habits and not even realizing we're doing it until you have people who love you enough to truth bomb you and go, really? Do you really believe that? And do you really believe what you're saying right now? No, you don't. I know you, and you don't believe that at all. And so to just keep me on track. Oh, you're right. You're right. And to me, that's number one, the thing that I do. Hang out with my friends a lot.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I have a great social life.
So tell me, just before we finish off, I could talk to you all day. But what's next? What's the next big exciting thing that you're looking to manifest? Can you share anything with us?
Oh gosh, to manifest.
What's in your vortex that you know you're calling it in?
I am actually, so one thing that I am definitely looking forward to is a romantic relationship. I'm single right now, and comfortably so, not feeling like I need a relationship. And for most of my adult life, I have been mostly single, but by choice, or at least not all my adult life, but since my son was born. Mostly single by choice, and being alone but not feeling lonely. Big difference.
Yeah.
And became very self-sufficient, very competent as a result. And I love that part of me. So I don't feel like I need a man in my life. But now I've gotten to the point where I want one.
You would like one. Yeah.
I would like one.
Now it would be fun to have one. Yes.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Not that I need him to save me. And that always was the vibration before, where if I got a man, it's because he's going to save me in some way.
To complete you.
Complete
you. Yeah.
Rescue me in some way. Like have him do the work in fixing me. And thank God I didn't have those guys to do that, because then I did it. I created the best version of me. So now I'm feeling like playful, like I want to enjoy this amazing life that I've created with someone, as a partner in co-creation, not as a crutch to lean on.
Yeah.
And that sounds really juicy to me. Yeah. So, and the person that I want is definitely worth waiting for. So I'm not in a hurry for it, but I'm very eager. Because when he shows up, the one in my vortex, woo, that's going to be awesome. Like, yeah, he's worth waiting for.
Fireworks.
Yes, forget about it.
Lee, it's been such a joy to speak to you. You are certainly out there.
It's so out there. Yeah, it's it was a hard thing to just be out there, but I'm really glad I am, because it's starting to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like your healing journey is going to help a lot of other people as well. So excited to see what happens next. But thank you so much for the time and the very fun conversation.
Thank you.
I look forward to the follow-up when you've met this man.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do a cool interview with that one. Woo!
Sounds good. All right, my love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tina. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.